Testing, testing. How are the volume levels? Alright, that's good to know. Good to know. Where's Streamer? Streamer's here. Streamer's just making sure the settings are all good. It is the brother bruh in chat. Oh, it's Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Yeah, I think today's race is going to be Willie walking away with his insane pace. Even on lower fuel, Yannick appears to be 4/10 down. Hopefully the weather will be interesting for the feature race. That'll definitely spice things up. Snowstorm in the feature race. Gran Turismo 8 is going to introduce snow, mark my words. Is the music too loud, or is the volume good for that? Alright, looks like everyone is joining the lobby. Stuck checks will begin in about 5 minutes. Now we have H-Boss here, Mr. Beyblade himself, running a different livery than he used to. I miss his gray, his matte gray liveries. And everyone is an SAS man now. In a few months, everyone is going to be either SAS or Eric's. This is going to be SAS versus Eric's in the EU races. Where's DRT at? We need more DRT members racing. You know what? You can just recruit North American members for DRT. You know, steal FDM Bill from SAS, have them join DRT, and then just have them represent in North American races. It's a very nice looking livery, though. I like that idea. I like that idea. You should start it. But honestly, teams are... I don't know, I feel like if you're in a team, you're kind of obliged to run the team livery. And that's... I don't know. Sometimes you just want to run whack liveries that's not affiliated with your team, you know? Feel the vibes is going crazy a little bit. Alright, so our host is asking people to join the Discord voice lobby. Suckchucks will begin momentarily, or should begin momentarily. No, with road cars, Frosty, I feel like a wheel is better just because the weight shift is more intuitive on a wheel compared to a controller. Sure. Let's see. I think his base paint is, if I have to guess, it's white, but it is a very neat looking livery. Actually, no, you have a point there, Llama. I think it could be chrome, but I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable in livery making. That is a very clean livery. Sure, might as well just do a livery check on the rest of the grid here. Man, stock color, no number, no driver number, no decals of any kind. SMH. Very disappointing. I feel like I should get a point penalty for showing up with only the stock color. Oh, what the? You know what? I dig this. Alright, the stock checks have begun, looks like. And the lights are out. Looks like everyone launched in first gear. From my testing, looks like second gear launch was better, but Yannick lunges down the inside of Willie here. Side by side into the series of square turns. If you take those sausage curves on, it can really hurt you or give you a penalty. But Yannick takes P1, Willie in his slipstream here. A neat little line going down the back straight. Metal fancying a pass into the outside of the hairpin here. MDC gets sandwiched. I think we'll watch this battle for this stock check. MDC and Metal. Oh, we have a spin. Let's see what happened. The curves. The curb killed him. Unfortunate. looks like the top runners Yannick and Willie are battling into the last 2 turns here. See who gets a better exit. I think Yannick is gonna hold on to this one. Not that it's an actual race or anything, but impressive driving from those two. MDC and Metal almost side by side and going into the finish line. That's... ooh, that would be a DQ if it was an actual race. Bill will be proud of that one. Okay, lobby settings have changed for qualifying. And we will be starting in a few minutes, I think. Alright, looks like qualifying has started ahead of schedule tonight. It's weird that the our host of the evening, MDC, didn't exit the pits first. And Mr. Radioactive Goat is still sitting in the pits, doing goat things, I would imagine. Alright, people are warming up their tires, spreading out throughout the track, getting ready for their hot laps. And we'll follow Yannick on his first hot lap tonight. using all of the available track to him. But it looks like he might have caught a little bit of air exiting the final turn in the series of square turns. But we'll see. So we're expecting fast race laps to be low 38s or high 37s, and qualifying with tire wear and fuel consumption turned off should be a few tenths faster than that. The wind direction isn't too favorable. It's just side wind on the most of the major straights here. Braking hard into the final series of turns here. With this car, if you let go of the brakes while you're trail braking wrong, the rear end just kicks out very easily, so you have to really be careful with that. Yannick crosses the line with a 37.3. Willie with a 37.5. Feel the Vibes 37.9. MDC 38.1. Metal 39.2. Mr. Beyblade 38.9. Taking P5 provisionally. Metropolis 39.5. Exige with a 46. Genesis snipes P5 from H-Boss. The Goat joined late, so we never really got to take a good look at his livery, but I really like it. It's a very neat looking livery. Although it is lacking his race number. Alright, Goat into P8, so that's everyone's first flying laps. Let's see. See if anyone's able to improve on their times. Willie improves by 1/10, but not enough to snipe provisional pole from Yannick. MDC into P4. Let's see what I missed out in chat here. Are you guys talking about editing? I mean, you can... Even if you don't have a computer, you can... I've never used the built-in PlayStation editor, but if you have an iPhone, you can just use iMovie, which is built in, and it's not a terrible experience starting out. See if Mr. Radioactive Goat can improve his qualifying time. He's turned on traction control, but he dips in the grass. Willie Wug snipes provisional pole from Yannick with a 37.2. So that is almost a 2/10 gap between those two. Feel the Vibes improves his time, gets closer to the top two with a massive oversteer heading into turn 1. His tires are not going to like that. So qualifying is about halfway done now. Exceed with a 0.5 second penalty. If I have to guess, he probably cut the series of square turns in sector 1 too much. So that's going to be the end of it. So that's this lap ruined. But fortunately, burning a penalty on this track does not affect your next flying lap, which is good. Yannick sets a new personal best, but not enough to retake provisional pole. Genesis is up on his personal best, but is that enough to make up the 4/10 gap to P3? We'll follow him for the rest of the lap here. A bit of engine braking abuse, but it still brakes a little late, dips off track slightly. Gets on the gas nice and early though. Gets out of the potential slipstream to exige up front. It's a new personal best, but stays P4 for Genesis. Alright, it looks like everyone is getting ready for their final 2 or 3 flying laps here. Making space on track, spreading out. Although Yannick is right up the bumper of Radioactive Goat here. I think he's going to have to abort his lap. Yeah, that's Yannick's lap aborted. Unfortunate. I'm glad you're liking the music, Sailboat. I found this playlist pretty last minute. It looks like Goat went back to the pits to reset his lap. That leaves him probably only 1 or 2 flying laps after he completes his outlap here. So he needs to make them count if he wants to get out of last place, although he is only 8 thousandths of a second behind Exige in P9. Goat got angry at Yannick. I think both Goat and Yannick got angry at each other. Feel the vibes with a 37.2. Sauce himself between Yannick and Willie here. 8.085 seconds behind Willie and 0.008 ahead of Yannick. The top 3 are really close right now. H-Boss might want to leave or back up a little bit. behind Metal here. I think they're gonna get a little close by the end of this lap. But those guys are battling it out in the timesheet. There's only 4/100ths of a second separating those two. However, Metal has picked up a penalty. One of you's gonna let him by? Yes, he is. Alright. Radioactive Goat is about to begin his flying lap. So, I think he's got enough for 2. Let's follow this flying lap for now. Runs a little wide, but Yannick just set a new fastest lap at 37.1. Go to 2/10 down in the first sector, unfortunately. Cuts in nice and tight through the hairpin. One thing to note here is that Goat is driving with automatic gearbox, which might be problematic with this car because the rear steps out quite easily if you're in a lower gear. So for example, if you exit the hairpin in second gear, your rear becomes quite lively. But Goat improved in his second sector significantly. He's now 3/10 up. Oh, went a little wide on the exit there. But I think it'll be alright if he doesn't mess up the final 2 turns. Oh, he runs wide again. Unfortunate. That is the commentator's curse. I don't have the overlay, but 0.069 seconds down on his personal best. Nice. Or maybe not so nice. Yeah, no, wrong place. See if Yannick is able to improve on his 37.1. Not quite. He's got one more lap though. Field of Vibes has finished qualifying. P3 provisionally. See if our host of the night, the Tire Whisperer himself, can he improve on his current position? Unfortunately not. Mr. Beyblade, unable to improve on his current position. Genesis looking a little lively. Oh no. And Genesis is going drifting, looks like. Mr. Radioactive Goat just misses on his personal best time. Again, only 0.008 of a second behind Exige and P9. Do you have anyone running right now? Or is the lobby just taking its sweet time? Oh, Willy Wug. No snipes. No last lap snipes from EU Division 1 tonight. And that's qualifying over. So we have Yannick 2000 in pole with a time of 1:37.117. Willie in P2, 1:37.204. Field of Vibes P3, 1:37.289. Again, top 3 incredibly close. Just a little over 0.15 seconds separating the 3. But it looks like we're going to have a tight race between the top 4 drivers, and then P5 all the way through P8 are really close together. And as we just mentioned earlier, P9 and P10 only 0.008 seconds. How long until the race? Oh, I don't know. That's up to the that's up to MDC. But I think we'll get maybe a minute or two. Oh, race has been cancelled. I wonder what's happening. Streamer should know everything? Nah, streamer's not the race director though, at least not tonight. See, let's do a glove check in honor of Metal here. So Genesis, nice blue gloves. SAS colors, I would imagine. Metal with his signature red gloves, courtesy of Jerry, the race car driver. Feel the vibes with black gloves, which matches his car. H-Boss, black, gray, so that's still his old colors. I mean, if he's doing a rebrand of his liveries, his driver suit should also get an update. H-Boss is really slacking in the fashion department here. Exige, red gloves. Oh. Hello there, Foxhole. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. We're getting ready for the sprint race here. Has your suit changed, H-Boss? Let's take a look. Oh, it has. Okay. Never mind then. I retract my previous statement. Your cover photo needs to be changed though. So, same with your profile picture. And it looks like the trend of H-Boss not being able to type is continuing. I'm gonna skip this song real quick. So it looks like we just have Goat on track at the moment. You can keep dreaming, H-Boss, but I'd advise that you not daydream during a race here, especially the feature race. Although, I would personally love to see a return of your spinning antics in the rain. Yeah, no, Goat's livery is... It's probably my favorite livery of the evening, honestly. I mean, there's no you can't equip slick tires in the rain, unfortunately, but I'm sure you'll manage to spin. Unintentional skull on the hood. Yeah. But knowing goat is probably intentional. Alright. Looks like the sprint race is starting. And the lights are out. Yannick starting from pole position. Going defensive to block up the inside, but Field of Vibes is... Never mind, Field of Vibes is... So the top four are very close together coming into the sharp left-handers. Everything looks clean so far. Yannick is still out front. Some slight contact between MDC and Field of Vibes here, competing for P4. Willie has dropped, Genesis has overtaken Willie, and Willie breaks a little early into the hairpin here, probably hoping for a better exit. Genesis takes a bit too much curb, and that allows Willie to tuck right into his slipstream here, going into these faster turns. Still pretty close to 90 degrees. Meanwhile, Yannick is creating a bit of a gap for himself up in first place. Tetropolis has made a mistake and maybe had a few incidents. His paint's a bit scratched up. All the back in P10. Maybe, hopefully he'll be able to make it up in the remaining eight laps. Now Willie again tucks into the slipstream here on the pit straight, with Field of Vibes not too far behind. Yannick is 1.1 seconds clear of Genesis in P2. H-Boss with an overtake down the outside with Metal. Let's see if this replay works. It does not work. Sad day. Or maybe I just pressed the wrong buttons. It's probably me. Tetropolis is closing in a little bit to the rest of the pack here. While Yannick runs a bit wide, exiting the hairpin. But with Genesis and Willie still battling for P2, I think that mistake is not going to cost him as much. Genesis driving very defensively here. Going too wide into Sector 3. Get Field of Vibes just behind them. And Genesis is going to lose 2 positions down to P4. This is going to be interesting, a 3-way battle into lap 3 here for P2. The reflections, yeah, the reflections are quite bright, thanks to GT7, how GT7 renders reflections. Genesis runs a little wide, has to back off the throttle slightly. Allows Field of Vibes and Willie to walk away for maybe a 10th. So let's see if there are any battles behind. Tetropolis is caught up to Metal and is looking to regain some positions. Steers clear of the sausage curbs though, but cuts the last one very cleanly. Not so cleanly, apparently, as he picks up a half a second penalty for exceeding track limits. So all the time that he made up in the past lap is going to... Yeah, he's going to lose it just by burning the penalty. Is a little eager on the throttle exiting the hairpin. Loses some more time to Metal in P9. Meanwhile, Goat and Exige continues their battle from qualifying. Goat is following Exige very tightly throughout Sector 2. Almost loses the rear as he got a little eager on the curbs. But he manages to hold on, maintain control of the car. The gap is growing though. Willie makes a mistake. Willie runs wide slightly into the pit straight. But Field of Vibes is still... Oh, we have Alfonso Martinez, the master, joining the... he just left. Interesting. So now Tetropolis, after serving his penalty, is now 2.1 seconds behind Metal. Again, he's got plenty of time. He's got a little less than 6 laps to make up for it. And it looks like he has the pace to catch Metal. Yannick is still about 1.5 seconds ahead of Willie in P2. Willie and Field of Vibes are still battling for the second position on the podium. Genesis not too far behind them, and MDC is following, is looking for any kind of mistakes from the drivers in front of him. HBoss 2 seconds behind MDC. Exige 2 seconds behind HBoss. Hello, Iceman. Welcome to the stream. Sorry if I'm reading chat a little late. I have to go back and forth between remote play and OBS here. But yeah, the field has kind of spread out. Looking at the mini-map on the top right at the moment, but again, a mistake is going to cost you on this track. Especially if you cut some of the corners a little bit too much and gets a penalty. As I say, that Field of Vibes, his rear end steps out, allows Genesis to gain on him rapidly coming into lap 5 here. His dirty tires are definitely affecting him. Genesis is right up on his bumper now. Going into the square turns. Maybe slight contact between the two. Genesis is bump drafting Field of Vibes, going into the hairpin. Lunge down the inside. But Field of Vibes is able to maintain their position for now. Very nice battle between the two. And thanks to Genesis and Field of Vibes battling, MDC is able to gain some time here. Metal 7-2-1 with a half a second penalty. But it looks like Tetropolis has fallen quite far behind. I wonder what happened earlier this lap. I wonder if the replay system can catch it. No, it can't. He was already 7 seconds down, looks like. So it must have been a mistake in the first sector. After burning his penalty, Metal is now 1.8 seconds behind Goat in P8. Goat and Exige are still less than a second. They're still less than a second apart from Goat and Exige, but it doesn't look like Goat is able to make a move just yet. HBoss is kind of on his own in P6. Oh no, Exige, or not Exige, MDC cuts the sausage curbs just a little bit too much, unsettled the rear end. That is going to put HBoss within striking range here in a few corners, perhaps. We'll watch those two. So the gap has now shrunken to less than a second between HBoss and MDC, the two SAS drivers. or two of the SAS drivers in tonight's lobby. And unusually, MDC's tire wear is actually worse than HBoss's. As the tire whisperer lost his touch, we shall see. Three tenths between the two now. I think there's going to be HBoss is probably going to MDC runs wide. But HBoss wasn't really. Oh no. HBoss's rear end kicked out on him. I'd say this counts as a commentator's curse as well. And Willie has gained some time on Yannick. There's only about 9 tenths between the two, but he does have a half-second penalty that he's going to burn by the end of this lap. He's 2.3 seconds ahead of Field of Vibes in P3 though, so I don't think that penalty is going to affect him too much at the moment. MDC has also picked up a half-a-second penalty. Radioactive Goat has overtaken Xeech, but Xeech isn't dropping behind just yet. Still going to be a tight battle between those two in the final 2 laps here. So let's get on board with Metal so we can watch the battle for P7 here. Goat runs a little wide, which allows Xeech to gain on to make up some gap. A very tight battle between Goat, Xeech, and Metal here at the moment. Meanwhile, Tetropolis runs wide into the final set of square turns. Into the penultimate lap here. Willie is 7 tenths behind Yannick. It does look like Yannick's tires are looking a little worse. Actually, no, the tire wear is about the same. It's now just up to who can maintain concentration for the remaining lap and a half. Xeech swinging wide into the hairpin, hoping for a better exit. And the top 2 drivers, the gap between them has shrunk down to about half a second. Going across the field here. Goat and Xeech are still incredibly close together. Metal sticking with them, 7 tenths behind Xeech. Tetropolis in P10. Yannick now starts the final lap of the sprint race here, with very little life left in his front left tires. That's going to make turning left considerably difficult. Willie 7 tenths behind. Field of Vibes 1.6 behind, 1.6 seconds behind Willie, and 2 seconds behind the leader. His tires do look considerably better than the cars in P1 and P2, but I don't think that's going to. But barring a mistake from the drivers in front of him, I don't think that's going to gain him a position in this final lap here. Genesis currently in P4, running on his own. MDC P5 running on his own. HBoss P6 running on his own. Radioactive Goat and Xeech are still battling it out. Not a significant tire wear difference between the two, but Radioactive Goat runs wide into the hairpin. So Goat is now under immense pressure from Exige from behind. Let's see if one of them makes a mistake here in the final lap of the sprint race. Taking a very compact line here. Radioactive Goat, he is being pretty defensive. Now is Exige going to make a lunge down the inside? He's going to poke his nose in, but not quite a lunge. Goat does leave some room though. Now they're going too wide. Exige not quite able to overtake Goat. Finishes P8. But it looks like we didn't have any major change in positions in the with the other drivers. Tetropolis goes across the line in P10, and that's the sprint race. So here's the finishing order for the sprint race. Yannick P1, and Willie 4/10 behind him with the fastest lap of a 1:37.9. Feel the Vibes P3, Genesis P4, MDC P5, HVOS P6. Goat P7 narrowly finishes ahead of Exige in P8. Metaltech 721 P9. Tetropolis plays P10. But yeah, that was a pretty close sprint race between the top two and P7 and P8. And now we're going to see what kind of weather we're going to get in the future race. Just waiting on the race director to randomize the weather codes for the future race. Let's see, what did I miss in chat? Is this more Suzuka hate from Bruh? Suzuka's a great track, I don't know what you're talking about. Frogs in the chat for rain. Oh god. What have you done? So here are the weather codes for the future race. CO5, CO2, S14, RO3, SO4, RO4, SO3, RO3. So it looks like we're going to get some rain starting in the second half of the feature race. So that's going to be about lap 5 or 6. That's when the rain is going to start intermittently. But the light rain codes, so with the RO3 and RO4 blocks, the rain is going to be kind of random in that the clouds have a chance to miss the track, and the clouds can vary in intensity. So if you get, like, for example, light blue, that's not really going to affect your driving at all on those sports tires. If you get dark blue, you're going to feel a little bit of grip loss, feel a little bit of understeer. But then if you get green clouds on those sports tires, it's going to be painful. Because by then, in the rain bar, in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, it's going to exceed the halfway mark, and that's when it gets really hard to drive for those sports tires. We'll see if we get a repeat of the Super Formula races where the rain completely skips the track. Meanwhile, we're going to check what kind of tires the drivers are going to start on. Because in the feature race, you're required to use both Sport Mediums and Sport Softs for at least one full-timed race lap, and the car is quite fuel thirsty rather. So we're expecting to see most drivers going with a 2-stop, if not 3-stop strategy for the night, for the feature race. So now it looks like we only have Metal starting on the mediums. Goat just swapped to the mediums. Tetropolis on the mediums. We're going to see if anyone's going to switch their starting tire compounds for the feature race. H-boss on the mediums. So from the drivers, we're going to expect 1 medium stint and 2, perhaps 3 soft stints, depends on if they're going with a 2 or 3 stop strategy. Feel the vibes on the medium tires now. H-boss swapped back to softs. Wonder what he's going to start with. And the partial reverse grid for the evening. I don't know if the host has rolled for that. Waiting on the race director to see how many of the top drivers we're going to invert for the night. Oh, welcome, Goat, the resident meteorologist for Metal. What are your predictions for the feature race this evening? Yeah, Bosworth, you're going to win this feature race even without being here. You're just too powerful. You can win the race remotely. So Metal on the softs, feel the vibes on... or Metal on mediums, feel the vibes on mediums. H-boss on mediums. Goat on mediums. Tetropolis on mediums. So half the grid about is on mediums, and the remaining half will be starting on the softs, looks like. Tetropolis P7. He's going to start from last place, but I think he has the pace to make up three positions at least if he doesn't make any mistakes. Honestly, if I have to make a prediction, I mean, I don't know how good some of the EU drivers are in the rain. I think Willie's going to win the feature race. That's just my prediction, but we'll see. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Goat. Get some cough drops, drink plenty of water, and that was... you raced really well in the sprint race. Your battle with Exit was really exciting to watch. And it looks like the top 5 will be reversed. So, race director self-rigging. He's going to start in pole position. Hashtag rigged. MDC, typical rigging. So the starting order for the feature race will be MDC in pole, Genesis P2, Feel the Vibes P3, Willie P4, Yannick P5, and from P6 to P10 the starting order remains unchanged. Yeah, Fox also. If you like in the Discord in the race weather settings chat, that's where we do all of the random number generations. So the RNG would return a number between 4 and half the grid. So in this case, it's either you reverse the top 4 or the top 5. So it returned 5 for this race. So only the top five finishes from last round. So Yannick, Willie, Feel the Vibes, Genesis, and MDC. Their starting positions are going to get reversed, and the rest of the grid remains unchanged. Yeah, it's a partial reverse grid. But Goat, you got this. You raced really well in the sprint race, and yeah, just again drink plenty of water. Maybe have some cough drops. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well, but I'll be rooting for you. I'll be supporting you. You got this, Goat. Let's take another look at everyone's starting tire compounds. Looks like we've got more people running the mediums. No, actually, yeah. So we're going to have 6 drivers start on the mediums. Make that 5 drivers starting on the mediums because Feel the Vibes is switched, and the other 5 will start on the softs. I'm actually not entirely sure how much pace you lose by running the mediums, so we'll find out. We'll find out together. Looks like we have a few people unreadying and readying up. I think they're about to get going. One 1.5 slower. All right, thank you, H-Boss. That is good to know. Looks like people are switching their tire compounds once again. Willie, who's going to be starting in P4? Looks like, if I remember correctly, P4. He's going to be starting on the mediums. Usually the front runners would elect to start on soft so they could run away from the rest of the pack. But it honestly depends on how long you keep those mediums for. And it looks like the feature race is about to start. Forgot to turn on the overlay last time. Leave that on. Alrighty. MDC, the race director, on pole. Hashtag rigged. And the lights are out. MDC gets away well. Closes the inside from Genesis in P2. Willie and Yannick side by side. And again, Willie on the medium compound. He's going to be a little slower through these turns compared to the other people running softs up front. Yes, everyone in front of Willie are on the softs. H-Boss got a nicely tap from Exit from behind. Radioactive Goat and Metal side by side here on the back straight. Tetropolis just observing all of the carnage going on ahead of him. Genesis and MDC are very close together, fighting for the top position on the opening lap here. It's the Team SAS rivalry. Almost bumps into the back of MDC, leading into Sector 3. But we're all good. Looks like Willie is, yeah, his choice of tire compound means that he's going to be dropping a little bit in the opening laps. but he still has a healthy gap in front of the other medium runners, namely H-Boss and Metal. Metal just dives up the inside of H-Boss. Takes P6. See if we can get a replay of that. Lunge down the inside. On the brakes a little late. Cuts off H-Boss maybe a little bit. H-Boss is definitely going to be looking to take that position back, though. However, he catches a little air on the sausage curb, loses some time. But the slipstream is going to help him get right back into 6th position here. On the brakes a little early. You know, considering Willie's on the medium compound of tires, he's not falling back too much from the top 4. Meanwhile, the top 4 is still very close together, less than 2 seconds separating them. Yannick looking to overtake MDC for P2. MDC has dropped back somewhat behind Genesis in P1. Oh yeah, nice catch, Metal on the soft tires. I didn't notice that. He has created quite a gap from between him and H-Boss here. Willie pitting on lap 2, doing the bare minimum on the medium compounds. Let's see if we have anyone else entering the pits. H-Boss in the pits. Tetropolis stays out on the medium tires. Exige stays out. Goat stays out. So yeah, we have 2 medium runners into the pits. Willie fuels up all the way. So does H-Boss. Alright, and while those guys were pitting, we missed Yannick overtake MDC into P2. MDC's getting a little impatient though. I don't think I've seen him engine brake like that in the sprint race. But now MDC's, and now Feel the Vibes is, oh. Great move down the inside, but taps MDC on the side slightly. Falls back into P4, but I think Feel the Vibes definitely has the pace to catch MDC here. MDC just needs to stay strong and not crack from the pressure. Feel the Vibes runs wide though. A slight error, but that allows MDC to start pulling away on this short straight here. Into the final 2 turns. Feel the Vibes gets a better exit compared to MDC. Tucks in the slipstream. It's good to make a move down the inside. Guess he is running alongside MDC into lap 4. Brakes a little late. Tetropolis in the pits, getting rid of his medium tires. Yeah, MDC is definitely getting impatient here. His driving is a lot more aggressive compared to the sprint race. And shifting straight into second into the hairpin. Not good for the engine, but I don't think the game simulates that, so take advantage of that if you can. Metal running on his own on the soft tires in P5. And Willie looks like is definitely making up for some pace. Making up the time he lost by pitting early. He's on the soft compounds though. Those are probably going to last him about 10 or 11 laps if I have to guess. H-Boss 6 seconds behind him. It's dropped back quite a bit considering they pit pretty much right behind one another. Radioactive Goat has also pitted He's on brand new soft tires now. So has Tetropolis. So it looks like the people that started on mediums, except for Exige, has now switched to soft tires. Let's see if Exige pits this lap. Heading into the pits. It's definitely going to drop. Exige is probably going to drop to P9, maybe. Let's see what's happening up front. Yeah, the Tire Whisperer has definitely lost his touch, at least with this car. Tire wear is worse than a few of the vibes in front of him, and he's losing time. I wonder if MDC's on controller tonight, because his tire wear is about the same compared to the other guys that are on controller. So we don't really have any close battles on track. Exige dropped to last place after his pit stop here, but he did fuel up all the way. So don't really have any close battles on track right now, unfortunately. Yeah, the field is pretty spread out. Although it looks like we're going to get a continuation of the battle from last race and from qualifying between Exige and Goat. So we'll stick with those two for now. Exige runs wide a little bit, loses some time. Goat runs wide into the first square left-hander, but that allows him to get a better exit, coming out onto the back straight, extending his gap to Exige by a few hundredths of a second. I see some American slander in chat that will not be tolerated. So we're on the 6th lap of the feature race. The front runners, their soft tires are starting to get relatively worn. Genesis is on a controller, so we're expecting his tire wear to be slightly worse than the others. And DCM Metal's tire wear are about equal. It looks like Willie may be fuel saving a little bit here. He's short shifting he's shifting a little earlier compared to the others. Runs wide, but he has a sufficient gap to H-Boss for this to not affect him as much. This is a very spread out feature race, but the rain is supposed to hit soon. It's getting cloudy. It's getting cloudy over the track. So we'll see how that changes. We'll see how that changes things. .1 seconds between Exige and Goat. Not quite enough for Exige to make a move here. Meanwhile, Willie with the 37.5 fastest lap. That is some seriously impressive pace. He is pulling away from H-Boss now with about 10 seconds between the two. If you compare the shift points for Willie to the shift point with, for example, Yannick is shitting right as the bar is flashing, and you're braking very aggressively into the slower turns here, whereas Willie is kind of shifting about 3/4 of the bar. Yeah, shifting at 3/4 of the bar. Not really abusing engine braking as much as the front runners. So he's saving fuel, but he's still managing to run at 37.5. That is seriously impressive. Less than a second between Genesis and Yannick now. Genesis's tire wear is definitely starting to hurt him. Although it's not looking that much worse than Yannick's. Rain for lap 7? Well, that was an approximation. I don't know. I'm not a licensed meteorologist like Goat is. Okay, this is just an amateur's opinion, an amateur's approximation. But Yannick is right up the bumper of Genesis. Genesis is showing a lot of understeer at the moment. Runs wide, touches the gravel slightly. Genesis his tires are definitely hurting. That is going to cost him. Runs a little wide into the final set of turns here. Allows Yannick to come up, dive up the inside. And now they're side by side, heading into lap 9. Genesis tucks in the slipstream. But Yannick is still pulling away slightly. Genesis looks like he has begun fuel saving with some with a bit of lift and coast into the first turn. If Genesis is able to keep pace with Yannick and just save some fuel behind him, that could also work out for him in the long run here. But it looks like Yannick is pulling away with a cleaner exit down the back straight. Yannick is definitely taking advantage of his overtake, and he's just trying to run away from Genesis. He does also have a bit of a tire advantage. The gap is now grown to 8/10. Feel the Vibe's not too far behind him, 1.1 seconds. But it looks like the rain is coming. The wipers are coming on. But it doesn't look like it's going to affect them just yet. The first rain block is an RO3, so light rain, probably light blue or dark blue. Not enough to affect how the cars drive, or at least not significantly. Yannick has increased his gap to 1.2 seconds, and Feel the Vibes is closing in. Let's go through the field here. MDC in 4th, Metal P5. Metal has been using a lot of fuel as he heads into the pits. Willie P6, 11 seconds ahead of H-Boss. Goat P8, Tetropolis P9, Exige P10. So unfortunately we did miss a bit of the action in the back here. Yeah, Metal is going to have to spend quite some time in the pits refueling the tank here. So he's now in P7. Soon to be P8. I'm assuming he's going to refuel all the way. Yep, P8. Drops down to P9. Is he going to be able to defend P10? Or his P9 from Exige in the back? So Metal has switched to the medium compound as he understeers into the gravel. Unfortunate. Yeah, your braking distance on the medium tires is definitely different, and they're also cold, considering he just exited the pits. Unfortunate mistake, but that cost him a lot of positions and a lot of time. He's now 3.2 seconds behind P9. Yannick is entering the pits. So is Genesis. So is Feel the Vibes. And so is MDC. So after an early pit, Willie is going to snatch P1 with about 40% tires left on his front rights and a little over a quarter tank of gas. Is HBoss going to be able to jump any of them in the pits? Genesis exit the pits with 32% fuel, so he's probably planning to only run the mediums for 3 laps before switching back to the softs and fully refueling. MDC also barely refueled his car. Feel the Vibes has fueled up the majority of his tank, so that lost him plenty of positions in the pits. Yannick fueled up all the way, which honestly is not the way to go. Your car is going to be significantly heavier compared to Genesis and MDC. But he's right on the back of Feel the Vibes, whose car was unsettled over the sausage curbs. So it's going to be close, but coming into the hairpin here. Peeks down the inside. And takes P5 from Feel the Vibes. Feel the Vibes is coming back though with a slight tap in sector 2. It's not getting dropped behind just yet because, again, even though Yannick might have faster pace, his car is heavier. Not by much, but it is heavier, and that is going to affect how it turns. Meanwhile, Genesis is in P2, 7 seconds in front of HBoss, who jumped MDC and MDC, Yannick, and Feel the Vibes in the pits. HBoss on Warren Softs with a little under a quarter tank of gas. MDC fresh mediums, about the same fuel level. Good afternoon, Kiwi. It's actually 1 p.m. Welcome to the stream. So this is... My timing is glitched. Is this... This is Metal's second full-time lap on the mediums. So it looks like he's planning to stick with the mediums for a little longer. Meanwhile, Yannick is gaining ground on MDC despite having a heavier car and staying in the pits for longer because of the refuel. Feel the Vibes half a second behind Yannick. It's going to be a close fight between those two. Yeah, it looks... No, the rain didn't miss the track. It was just light rain. It was barely noticeable. The wipers were on. But, I mean, the rain meter is clear, so it doesn't look like it... Yeah, it didn't really do anything. But we have RO4. We have an RO4 block coming up. It looks like Willie is due to pit soon. His fuel and tires are low. His lap times are still looking really good though. He is consistently lapping 1.5 to 2 seconds faster than HBoss, who's on the same compound of tires, or sorry, better tires, and same fuel level. So this is when Genesis and MDC are supposed to pit in to get rid of their medium tires. So we'll watch Genesis for now. He's got 7 seconds in front and behind him to the drivers, in front and behind him. Slight power slide coming out of the last turn, heads into the pits to get rid of his medium tires, and probably fuel up all the way. Willie also pits in with 3% fuel to run another soft stint, but he's not going to lose any positions to Genesis, looks like. Yannick and Fuel the Vibes are staying out, so they're on a different strategy compared to Genesis and MDC. Goat in the pits with 0% fuel. Tetropolis in the pits. Metal is staying out on the mediums for more laps, so he's going to be a long medium stint for Metal. So Genesis exit the pits in front of HBoss still. Willie 6 seconds in front. Exige in P3, but he's probably going to pit at the end of this lap. Feel the Vibes half a second behind Yannick, with slightly less fuel. So I wonder if he's going to be able to make a move soon. So Metal has jumped MDC in the pits, who's now on a full tank of fuel and soft tires. Radioactive Goat, soft tires, full tank of fuel. Same for Tetropolis. So we're seeing a few different strategies here. We have Feel the Vibes and Yannick on the same strategy. Exige is kind of doing his own thing, but similar to Goat, I think. I think Exige is just pitting a lap late, 1 or 2 laps late here. Genesis and MDC are on the same strategy. Yannick and Feel the Vibes pitting in after 4 laps on the mediums, I think, counting the in and out laps. But with plenty of fuel left in the tank, so I don't have to spend as long refueling. Willie jumps them in the pits. Genesis jumps them. Both Yannick and Feel the Vibes managed to stay in front of HBoss. And now they are on a little less than a full tank on fresh softs, so it looks like this is going to be their last stint for Yannick and Feel the Vibes. And I would suspect for Willie and Genesis to be on their last stint as well here. Metal still on the mediums. Under threat from MDC, who now has a full second of penalties. Again, Exige and Goat within a second of each other. They're still battling it out. Now, similar strategies looks like. Exige did pit a lap or 2 late compared to Goat. So MDC has overtaken Metal in Sector 2, but he has his full second of penalties to serve, and I don't think he can make enough of a gap to make up for that, despite being on the faster compound of tires. So Metal is burning off, or sorry, MDC is burning his penalties now. Just manages to stay in front of Metal heading into the last 2 turns. Metal swings wide here, but wasn't able to fully capitalize on it because of the grip disadvantage he has, and MDC is now pulling away. Feel the Vibes, 9/10 behind Yannick. Those two are still very close together. Yannick catches some air on the sausage curb heading into the back straight. The track is getting... the clouds are getting thicker above the track. We might have some rain. We might have some rain come in. Willie started on mediums. And this is his second soft stint, so he has 2 stopped so far. Super chicken. I think this has been a 2-stop for everyone so far, pretty much, except for Metal, who's still on the medium tires. So do you have any close battles on track at the moment? Looks like Yannick was able to pull away slightly from Fuel the Vibes, 1.2 seconds between them. I wonder if Metal is going to be able to... Metal definitely needs to stop once more because there is no way that his fuel can last the remaining 7 laps. Everyone else is running on about 60 to 70% of fuel, whereas Metal currently has less than half a tank. So unless he fuel saves, very aggressive fuel saving, he's not going to be able to... He's not going to be able to make it to the end without stopping again. But once again, the field has kind of spread out, except for Goat and Exige. Seven tenths between those two. Heading into the hairpin on lap 17 here. They're on the same strategy. They're on the same strategy. This is their second soft stint after 2 pit stops, and they're probably going to continue to the end on these tires. They have Goat. One thing to know is that Goat has stayed out on those tires for 1 or 2 laps more, so his tire wear is looking a little worse. So this gives Exige a bit of a tire advantage at the moment. Let's go through the field here. Willie in P1, 7 seconds clear of Genesis in P2. It's 1.3 seconds ahead of Yannick. 1.7 seconds in between Fuel the Vibes and Yannick. The SAS drivers, H-Boss and MDC, are kind of on their... Oh no, MDC with a spin. Can we see what happened? So MDC crosses the finish line into lap 18 here. It's too much overspeed into turn 1. Catches the grass and spins out. And that allows Metal to take P6 from MDC. But MDC does have the tire advantage. Meanwhile, Metal's car is considerably lighter. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out between those two. And behind them, Exige and Goat are still battling very fiercely. Less than half a second between those two. Although Goat did take some suboptimal lines through these high-speed turns, and he's now dropped to about a second behind Exige. MDC has overtaken Metal. Let's see if we can get a replay here. Metal runs wide into this set of right-handers. Metal is definitely going to have to pit soon. Less than 1 second between Exige and Goat. The gap is shrinking due to the slip, heading into the first turn here. Exige is rapidly gaining on Metal, who again is on worn mediums at the moment. So maybe by the end of this lap, he's going to be, he's going to have. Actually, there's only 4/10 between those two at the moment. Nixie has a significant overspeed compared to Metal. Brakes a little early though. Takes a very compact line through the hairpin. Gets alongside Metal. Into the fast S's. Metal runs wide again on the worn tires. Gets passed by both Exige and Goat. Falls down into P9. And again, he does have to pit again. His tires are shredded at the moment. They're dirty and they're worn. He is understeering like crazy. Unfortunate for Metal. Only 5 seconds between Metal and Tetropolis. So after he pits, Metal is probably going to drop into P10. It looks like Tetropolis is good. This is going to be his, or he is going to be able to finish the race on this tank of fuel and on this set of tires. Let's see if Metal pits in this lap here. His tires are done. Drifts out of the last turn, heads into the pits, into lap 20. Let's go through the fuel here, while Metal's in the pits. Yannick gets alongside Genesis into Sector 2. Backs out though, still stays behind him very, very closely. Again, Genesis on the controller, which means that his tires are going to be more worn than Yannick. Two tenths between the two, heading into the final set of turns. Genesis runs wide, allows Yannick to go down the inside here. Heading side by side into the first turn. But it looks like Genesis backed out of the battle for now. So let's check back on Metal real quick. So Metal's on soft tires. He's refueled. He's overfueled compared to the rest of the drivers. And there's 18 seconds between him and Tetropolis. So unless Tetropolis makes a big error on track, I don't think Metal's going to improve his finishing position, unfortunately. Let's get back to Yannick and Genesis here. Less than a second between those two, with Feel the Vibes a second behind. H-Boss is on his own, 12 seconds behind P4. MDC in 6th position, 14 seconds behind H-Boss. I think those two are going to, their finishing position are going to be unchanged, again, barring any mistakes. So let's watch the battle for P2 at the moment. Genesis has dropped back a little bit from Yannick in P2. But Feel the Vibes is right on the rear bumper of Genesis. Looking to make a move down the inside, but backs out. Genesis runs wide. He outbraked himself. Falls back into P4. However, he does get... No, he slid too much on the exit. Feel the Vibes is weaving a little bit, trying to break the draft. You can only weave once before that is considered illegal by GTSL rules. But Genesis is understeering quite severely. He's not able to take the turns quite as quickly as Feel the Vibes, who has about 10 or 15% more wear on the front rights compared to Genesis. So I don't think Genesis is going to be able to take that position back, unfortunately. But is Feel the Vibes going to get a run on Yannick in the remaining 1.5 laps? It's 2 seconds between those two. Meanwhile, Willie with his I want to say Willie's strategy is better just because he started on mediums, and again his pace he was able to keep up with the soft runners on the medium tires. That allows him to just run away after he switched to softs. It was 8 seconds between him and Yannick. So his tires are more worn, and he is lapping a little slower, but it's not going to change the finishing positions of the race, I don't think. 2.7 seconds between Yannick and Feel the Vibes, so I think those two are going to, the finishing positions for those two are going to stay where they are for now. Let's go down the grid here. Genesis not dropping too far behind. 1.6 seconds behind Feel the Vibes at the moment. HBoss P5, MDC P6, XH P7, Radioactive Goat less than a second behind, but he's about to serve a 0.5 second penalty, and power slides out of the last right-hander. I think that is going to put him out of contention for P7, unfortunately. Tetropolis P9, 16 seconds clear of Metal, who is in P10 with the half-second penalty. It's safe to say that this was not a good race for Metal, unfortunately. I think he stayed on those medium tires for far too long. Let's stick with Goat here, see if he can make a move on XH. Kind of doubt it. No one is too close together on track at the moment. Heading into the final set of turns here for our race leader, number 91, Willie. Incredible pace and incredible strategy gets him the feature race win. Double points as he crosses the finish line. Yannick takes home second after finishing first in the sprint race. Not a bad finish for him. Feel the Vibes runs out of gas, coasts to the finish line P3, almost loses the position to Genesis in P4. HBoss finishing P5, unfortunately did not spin out due to the rain. Flashes his lights, crosses the line. The not-so-tire whisperer, MDC, comes home P6. XCH manages to stay in front of Goat, finishes P7. Radioactive Goat, who is racing under the weather tonight, finishes P8. Tetropolis P9. And unfortunately for Metal, not the best feature race for him. Finishes P10. I know, HBoss, you did not provide any entertainment for me or the audience. Shame on you. And that's the feature race done. Unfortunately, no rain for the night. Oh, I do not want to enter tracks. So yeah. Here is the finishing order. Willie finishes P1 with the best lap of 1:37.5. Yannick P2. Feel the Vibes completes the podium in P3. Genesis P4. HBoss P5. MDC P6. XH P7, Goat P8, Tetropolis P9, and Metal 721 P10. But yeah. It looks like people are joining the lobby for some ambulance racing. We have a wild Bosworth joining. Bosworth, you should have stayed for the ambulance race after the endurance race on Saturday. You missed out. Alright. So the plan was for me to leave and not comment on the ambulance race because I have something in half an hour, but considering we finished ahead of schedule, I'm gonna stay, and I'm gonna try to commentate over over whatever the fuck this is. Interesting livery from Jerry here. It's a lot of stickers on the back. Oh, you want me to drive? I'm gonna have to drive over remote play. I think it's just H-Boss looking for another excuse to kill me on track here. I'll do it. Let's look over everyone's liveries. Metal with the stock ambulance livery. Needs to get his livery game up. Feel the vibes with the DHL van. Genesis with a British ambulance livery. Feel the vibes attempted to brake check Genesis, but just gets slammed. Oh my god. H-Boss with the AA rapid response vehicle. Willywog with the Panda Trueno ambulance. Yannick with the stock livery. We need more whack liveries for the ambulances, guys. Come on. Most of the field is pretty bland, I gotta say. Gonna suck racing over remote play, but whatever. I'm gonna get taken out by H-Boss in turn 1, that's my prediction. Alright, see ya, Foxhole. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, the ambulance race is about to get underway. You're gonna get live commentary from me playing over remote play. So this is gonna be interesting. Let the spam begin. H-Boss is right behind me. I wonder if MDC rigged it this way. Turn on traction control. Bruh joined late. Unfortunate for him. Someone going backwards here. Our host of the night, MTC, is backwards. It's a beautiful pit maneuver on Eric Sposworth. Thanks for the boost, H-Boss. Appreciate it. This is going to be deadly heading into the chicane here. This thing has no power, barely accelerating uphill here. right? It's the consecutive right-handers here. Everyone's burning their tires, looks like. Oh, Jesus, Bosworth driving backwards. Looks like Sailboat and Willie are... I don't think Sailboat's... Yeah, the boost is not helping at all. I think that was H-Boss that just got spun on the pit straight. Good for him. Yannick up front here with a sizable gap to P2. Metropolis behind me is going to get dangerous in this heading into this braking zone. Genesis into the barrier. Willie managed to overtake Yannick for the lead here, weaving on the back straight. Boxer driving backwards once again. This spam is just outrageous. Genesis with the side swipe. Oh god. Genesis is taking P3 from me. I'm not gaining any speed uphill whatsoever. Exige is gaining on me very quickly. I get killed from behind right now. Bosworth driving backwards once again. I got a nice exit though. Oh man. Wasn't able to capitalize on that. Unfortunate. P4 for me. Not bad, considering I'm on remote play and I started mid-pack. Wait, Fallen Llama, what do you mean my vibration is messing up the game audio? Is my mic picking up the controller vibration? I haven't tested, like, actually playing the game while streaming it, so I have no idea what it actually sounds like, so I apologize if the audio quality was bad. Well, next time I'll just commentate over it then, if when I do this next week. But yeah, that's all for the racing today. Thank you everyone for stopping by the stream here. It was an enjoyable race to commentate over. I hope I didn't do too bad of a job doing the commentary. But yeah, again, thanks. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'll see you guys next week for round 3 of EU Division 1. Take care, guys.